Good morning, Dhamma friends. Kiccho manussa patilabho. Rare and difficult is this human life, and it's difficult to achieve. Kiccang maccana jivitang. Even though you are a human being, leading a righteous, pure human life is still difficult and not easy one. Kiccho saddhamma savanang. It's a rare opportunity, friends, coming across the sublime teachings of the Buddha. Kiccho buddhanang upado. The Buddhas do not arise in the world often, and it is very rare and difficult. Be elated, friends, be joyful, and we all are human beings, and we have achieved this rare human life. Even though the Buddha is not living today, it is still the time of the Buddha era. Sublime teaching is available in its pristine purity. What has to be done by the wise human beings is to realize this Dhamma, practice it, and achieve enlightenment. So today this gathering here, and each and every one of you have come forward to listen to the Dhamma and understand it. Pariyatti, patipatti, and pativeda. Understanding is to practice, and practicing is to realize. So understanding, practice go in hand in order to realize the sublime teachings of the Buddha, which culminate in enlightenment. Well, today we are going to talk about mind scanning. Science and technology is very advanced today. And scientists have found various methods, technologies, to scan the body. We have MRI scan, CT scan, and many other types. And we go for this scanning to scan our body to detect various kind of disease. But what about the mind? Majority of the human beings in this world, they are having a lot of mental problems and disease. We, each and every one of us, as long as we are not enlightened, we have got a lot of mental disease. Each and every day, we suffer from these mental disease, but we are not aware about it. When you are agitated, when your mind is full of anger, hatred, ill will, jealousy, cruelty, stress, tension, mental agony, sorrow, these are some of the terms that we use to mean, to express the mental disease that we are suffering. All of a sudden, sometimes we become very moody and gloomy and miserable. We do not know why. And suddenly we become agitated without reason. And these are the mental disease. But friends, these mental disease come to existence because of reasons, not without reasons. But do we do mind scanning to detect these mental disease? Science so far did not invent or could not invent a machines to scan the human mind. It's doubtful that they would do in the future as well. Well, how many times did your computer break down because of the virus attack? Maybe some of you have encountered this. If you do not have a proper virus guard, antivirus software installed to your computer, and if you do not do the scanning, sometimes your computer might affect with virus. Friends, human beings, we are also like computers in a different way. A computer will work depend on the software which we install to it. Exactly in the same manner, human beings, we behave depend on the softwares that we have installed to our system. Language is a software. Religion is a software. Culture is a software. And in this way, we always install in different types of softwares, ideas, concepts to our mind. And today, each and every one of you have installed the language English software. And I also have installed it myself. That's why I can communicate with you here. If you do not have this software in your system, you will not understand what I'm saying. And if you were to speak something in Chinese, definitely I don't understand because I don't have that software. So friends, simply speaking, human beings, we are also like computers in a different way. And we have got eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body. These are the 5 sense faculties, and these are our inputs. We receive light, sound, then smell, taste, and sensation, touch sensation through these inputs. Then we undergo a kind of process in our mind, and in this process of undergoing, we produce feelings, perceptions, mental formation, consciousness. And then these will come out. The output of our mind, sometimes they manifest in our mind, and they flow through our mouth as speech, and they come out through our body as actions. So like computer, these human machines, if you do not do this scanning, and we may get into trouble. So have you installed your antivirus software to your system? So that is the purpose of coming here, friends. Antivirus software here is a term that I mean the dharma, sublime teachings of the Buddha. Virus is a term that I mean the defilements, the disease, the mental defilements and disease that affect the human mind. So the Buddha's teaching, very effective way, it deals with these viruses and clean our system and keep it effective, peaceful. So do you do the mind scanning? Well, before we learn how to do the mind scanning, it's very important for us to understand how these viruses remain in the human mind. These viruses have got generic structure. In human mind, these viruses lay in 3 successive stages. In the first stage, they lie dormant. They are sleeping, which is known as anusaya stage. Deep inside your mind, we have these viruses sleeping at the moment. Each and every one of you have got the tendency to become a criminal. Each and every one of you, including myself, as long as we are not enlightened, we have got the tendency to become a criminal. But these criminal tendencies are sleeping at the moment, anusaya stage. Friends, we have seen in the society those people like policemen, judges, lawyers, those who dedicate themselves to protect the law, they break the law. You have seen the doctors who dedicated themselves to cure the patients sometimes have committed killing. Those spiritual people in various religions who uphold peace and non-violence, they have committed violence. They have done a lot of criminals. Sometimes you might think, he's a monk, how can he do such a thing? Friends, what you have to understand here, even though these monks or nuns or doctors or whoever they are, and each and every one of them, as long as they are not enlightened, they have got the criminal tendency lying deep in their mind, which is anusaya stage. Then these viruses sometimes can come up to the mind. So when these viruses are sleeping, it's almost like a sleeping volcano, and we do not know what time it will become active. So these viruses, when they wake up and they become active in human mind, and this is stage Buddha name as pariyuttana stage, means emotionally active level of the virus. So mind is agitated, full of anger, hatred, ill will, jealousy, cruelty, and many other defilements. And it's like active volcano. We do not know what time it will erupt. Then these viruses can go to the third and final stage, which is Buddha recognized as Vitikama stage, which is manifestation stage. So when these viruses manifest through your body and speech, they become unwholesome, evil actions. When these viruses come out from your mouth, they become so smelly, so ugly. What are these words? Harsh words, evil, unwholesome words. And you will utter a lot of words which can hurt the other people. And these are the viruses which comes out from your mouth. And then these viruses, when they manifest through your body, and they will be criminal actions, killing, torturing, injuring, stealing, and these kind of action. So friends, these viruses in human mind has got 3 stages. One stage is sleeping stage. It's like a sleeping volcano. Second stage is emotionally active level. It is like active volcano. But the third stage is like the manifestation stage, like a volcano is in eruption, a destructive stage. So Buddha's teaching is all about how to tackle these viruses, how to tame down them, how to suppress them and weaken them, and finally uproot them perfectly, permanently, and irreversibly. So the teachings of the Buddha is solely targeted for this end, friends. Well, all these viruses, Buddha labeled out or grouped out into 5 for our understanding. So these 5 are known as Pancha Nivarana, 5 types of hindrances in human mind. Why did the Buddha use the word hindrance? Because Buddha recognized in human mind not only these viruses, in fact, we have got a lot of virtue. The human mind is a treasure house of a lot of gems. We have great intelligence, so we can develop understanding, goodwill, friendship, compassion, generosity. The mind has a lot of potential. Mind is the most powerful thing in the world, friends. Buddha says, nothing comparable with the human mind. Naham bhikkhave eka dhamman samanupassami yata idang cittang. Monks, I do not see any other kind of power which can overcome the power of the human mind. So if you use the human mind in a positive, constructive, wholesome way, friends, and that can be developed to the maximum level. Today we are not birds, but we can fly better than the eagles. We can swim better than the dolphins, even though we are not fish. We have conquered the sea, we have conquered the earth, and we are conquering outer space. We go from one planet to another planet. This scientific and technological development is, friend, due to the advancement of the human mind. So the human mind can be developed to such an extent that only a human being can become a perfect enlightened Buddha. So these 5 groups of viruses hinder the progress of human mind, achieving its spiritual height. So that is why Buddha recognized these viruses, in fact, hinder the progress of the human mind. So Buddha termed them as Pancha Nivarana, 5 groups of viruses that hinder the progress of human mind. So first group of these viruses is labeled as Kamachanda. What it mean by the term Kamachanda? When these groups of virus affect the human mind, we become excessively greedy and we lose our common sense. Kamachanda, the label is used to mean desire, craving, attachment, clinging, greed, stinginess, and selfishness, blind, self-centered desire. Like the earth pulls everything towards its center, human mind pulls those pleasurable, favorable sight, sound, smells towards its center and grab them with so much desire, with so much attachment. This is self-centered, blind desire. What will happen if a human mind was affected with these groups of virus? And then you will lose your common sense. You will become a slave to these viruses. So virus will control you. Being overpowered by these groups of virus, you can go to the extent to do any kind of crime. Buddha says, friends, suppose there is a bowl of water, and this bowl of water is mixed with various colors. And he says, if a man who has got a good eyesight were to go there and were to see the facial reflection, he may not be able to see his facial reflection for the simple reason the water is colored with various colors. Exactly the same manner Buddha says. When the mind is overpowered by these groups of defilements, human beings will lose their common sense and common judgment. And they may go to the extent to do various kind of crimes. So it's very important for us to tackle these viruses. Second group of virus that the Buddha talks about is known as Vyapada. Just a moment. So what it means by the term Vyapada? The term Vyapada means here the mind has got the ability to react in a repulsive way. So when these viruses affect the human mind easily can be agitated and it become very violent and repulsive. Hatred, ill will, jealousy, anger, cruelty, these terms and words are used to communicate different shapes, different levels of these viruses, which are grouped under Vyapada. So once human mind is affected and controlled by these viruses, you lose your common sense again. And you might go to the extent to do various kind of criminal activities because you lose your common sense and understanding and judgment. So Buddha says, suppose there is a bowl which is full of water, and this bowl of water is heated up by fire, and the water is bubbling and boiling. And if you were to go there and were to see your face in the water, in bubbling water, in boiling water, you won't be able to see your facial reflection. Exactly the same manner when the mind is agitated and affected by these viruses, friends, you lose your common sense and you become a slave to these viruses and you are sick. Third groups of viruses Buddha label Tina Midde. The nature of these viruses to make you physically and mentally inactive. So when you are affected with these viruses, your mind becomes very inactive. You feel physically very lazy, lethargy, and mental sluggishness, and it is not active. You always feel like being very negative, moody, gloomy, and you do not want to do the work. You will stay talking and doing nothing, and most of the time sleeping. So Buddha says, Niddasili sabasili anuttata chiyo narod. When you are affected with these viruses, Niddasili, you will like to sleep a lot. Sabasili, and also you like to engage in gossip a lot. Anuttata chiyo narod. Another symptom is you will not have diligence. You will not work hard. And you will look at the life in a very negative way. So this situation, friends, affected by these mental viruses. So Buddha recognized them as a hindrance for the progress. And we must tackle it very carefully because that hinder our spiritual progress and material progress. Being human beings who achieve this rare human chance and life, we must overcome these situations. Otherwise, this life is wasted. The fourth group of virus, the Buddha label, is known as Uddacca Kukkucca. And what he means by this label, when your mind is affected by these virus, the symptoms will be stress and worry. You easily become stressed and tensed up, and mind become restless and eventually come worry. So you become worry unnecessarily, mind is not at peace, and if this situation were to prolong, then you will enter to depression. And prolonged depression, of course, sometimes can end up your life. Many people who commit suicide, they are associated with some sort of depression. And the researchers have found out all the people who commit suicide, they in fact have got some sort of depression plus with the other defilements. So friends, here these groups of defilements or viruses make your mind very restless and mind is not at peace and tension and stress arise, worry arise here. So become very negative, destructive. So Buddha says, suppose friends there is a bowl of water and this bowl of water is stirred up with wind and the rippling arise in the water. And if you were to go and see your facial reflection, you will not be able to see. Exactly in the same manner, friends, when your mind is affected by these viruses, you will lose your common judgment and common sense. And you might go to the extent to do various kind of crimes or mistakes in your life. The fifth group of viruses, Buddha label as vicikicca, uncertainty and fear. Uncertainty and fear. In our life, we have got so much fear towards uncertain things, towards future. We do not know what will happen tomorrow. And we are suffering from various kind of fears and uncertainty. It is because of not having clear understanding. If you understand the nature of this body and mind and the nature of this world, if you understand these are flux of energies which are in constant flux in every single moment, then you will reduce your attachment and in thus you will reduce your fear. So friends, when we do not understand this, and these viruses can affect us, and then human mind becomes sick, and we will go to the extent to take foolish actions, wrong decisions because of fear and uncertainty. So Buddha says, suppose there is a bowl of water, a muddy water, kept in dark place. And if you were to go and see your facial reflection, you will not see it because the water is muddy. You will not see clearly. Exactly in the same manner, your mind is full of doubt and uncertainty and fear. You will not see the clear picture. You will not have right understanding. So friends, these 5 groups of viruses known as hindrances for the progress of human mind, because they make human mind become sick, and they are the viruses of the human mind. So Buddha recognized reducing, suppressing, weakening, and finally eradicating these 5 groups of viruses result in nothing but perfect peace, perfect understanding, perfect happiness, perfect bliss, which is the Nibbana. So the purpose of practicing the teachings of the Buddha to eradicate these defilements and viruses perfectly, permanently, and irreversibly. Well, now we have come to the point. And how can we do the mind scanning to recognize these viruses? In any scanning system, in your computer, you might see these 3 functions. In the first stage, the computer will scan to look for viruses. Second stage, it will recognize the virus, what kind of virus it is. Third stage, it will take an action either to delete it out or quarantine it or block it, whatever, a solution. So the Buddhist way of mind scanning, in fact, has got the same thing and the three functions. But you must install this software very properly. Well, as you all know, when you install the software to your computer, the pop-up message will come, or it's a common sense, you must close down all the other windows, all the other programs, correct? Now, if you want to install this software now, but I'm going to tell you how to install, I'm asking you to close down all the other softwares now. So I need your mindfulness and clear attention and comprehension. There are 3 steps to do this. First step is known as Paccavekkhana practice. This is typically for the monks and nuns, in fact. But this is also for any other Buddhist, whoever wish to practice. Paccavekkhana practice is simple, clear, mindful reflection of the day. It means a monk or a nun, before go to sleep, will sit somewhere, either in a cross-leg, or in a chair, or in his sleeping bed, close his eyes, and reflect very carefully from morning till up to this moment that he's going to sleep, all the activities he did. And he will go backward. He will go backward and reflect all what happened during the day. And this is scanning of your mind. And he will recognize, in this process you must recognize while going through the activities of the day, what you did, and you recognize the areas where your mind is affected. In the morning while I was driving, I got so angry and I horned somebody. Or I got so angry and I scolded my wife. Or whatever. Or in my working place, today I lost my temper. Or today I behave in a very foolish way around 11 o'clock. So in this way, friends, you are going to recognize. So simple methods here, mindful reflection of the day's activities, simply recognize the virus. The virus affected areas of your human mind. Or in other words, to recognize where you made the mistakes and behave in a foolish way and lost your peace. So in this way, friends, the first stage is scanning the mind. For the beginners, in fact, this will take long time. Why? Reflecting and going through the whole day activities, in fact, not easy for somebody who is not trained. But in time to come, friends, when you practice this, within a short period of time, you will quickly recognize the areas. Within 1 second, 2 seconds, or within a few minutes' time, you will easily recognize where I should amend. So the first stage is at night, before you go to sleep, sit somewhere, close your eyes, and reflect the day. When you reflect the day and events, and you recognize where you behave in a foolish way, or where you made a mistake, or whatever those incidents, unpleasant incidents that happen. Recognize these incidents first. Then you go to the second function of this mind scanning. This is known as dhamma vichaya. Dhamma vichaya here means analyzing, scrutinizing according to the dhamma. Now you are going to see these incidents in the light of the dhamma, in a different way of looking at it, in a different way of analyzing it. Suppose, friends, last night you had to attend a party. It ended up quite late, so you went to bed very late. In the morning you wake up You woke up late and you are late for work. So now you are driving and you are caught up in PIE and heavy traffic. Now you are losing your temper. In one way you are not having enough sleep and you woke up very late and you are rushing and it's a busy day. And now all of a sudden somebody cut your way and you got so angry and you horned this man. Huh? What the hell you are doing here? But still you manage to go to the office, and when you go to the office, your boss is not happy. Of course, because you are so late today. So the boss was not happy and he set it off. Well, now you still started the work. You pick up telephone and you are trying to call one of your customer. And over a simple issue, you engage in a big argument and you end up quarreling with this customer and lost a big business. Suppose this incident happened. And now you did the mind scanning and recognize, I made this mistake today. I lost 10K business. Or I lost this much of money or because of this incident. Now you recognize this incident which happened. Now you are going to look at it according to the dharma. For example, when it is said according to the dharma vichaya, these are the teachings you must know to use this software. You must know 4 noble truths. You must know dependent origination. You must know 3 marks of existence. You must know karma and its effect. In the first place, you must know this dharma first, because dharma is the software you are using. In this kind of incidents, if you were to clearly understand, then you will see the causal link, interdependent nature of this existence, interdependent nature of all this existence, including this problem that you face. In fact, you will understand very carefully the mistake, in fact, done not because of one reason, but many reasons. It started because you had to go for a party and it ended very late. So you still could not stop. It is still processing. In the morning, you woke up also late. So still you could not manage. So if you could cut this somewhere else, either if you manage to woke up in the morning, maybe problem is solved already. Or if you came home early, maybe still the problem is solved. So in this causal link, you will understand that if I could manage to do this, in fact, I would not have faced such a thing. Because of this, that happens. Because of that, this happens. In this way, you will see the causal link. Exactly in the same manner, friends. When you recognize your mind is affected and you made a mistake, take this incident and see the causal link. This is known as paticca samuppada, interdependent nature. Things come to existence not only because of one reason, but because of many reasons. So in this way, you will see the causal link. Or you can see it, in fact, another incident, for example, somebody did something bad, something which you are not agreeable, and you are angry about it. You feel so hurt, and now still you are suffering from this injury that the other party did, and you think you are right, the other one is wrong, and there's no justice, there's no justification of this act. So you always think, I'm right, but he's wrong. He must not have done it this or that. So if you know the karmic theory, you can look at it in a dharma. You can put this under the light of the dharma, and you can see the karma. When it says karma, means human actions, our own thoughts, words, and actions. When it is say karma, it means present actions as well as past actions. Well, you can see my present way of thinking, action, and reaction lead to this kind of situation. I'm responsible for my own thoughts, words, and actions, whatever I do. So if the other fellow, the other person, is the one who did this mistake and hurt me purposely and did this mistake and committed this wrong act, of course it is his responsibility and it is his karma, and he will bear the result, because karma is personal. Each and every one of us, we are responsible for our own thoughts, words and actions. So when you see this under this light, you can let go the grudges, because you know, and each and every one of us, we are responsible for our own action. So each and every one of us will meet our own actions in time to come. And if you can also see the karma relevance to your past actions, you still can see, well, I had to face this kind of situation. Most probably, maybe I have done similar actions. That's why I'm meeting with the similar results now, either in this life or past life. So in this way, friends, you can see these incidents under different light. Or you can see these incidents according to the Four Noble Truth. The Four Noble Truth says, each and every human beings, we are having our part of suffering. Each and every one of us, we have got our own problems, miseries. So the problems may be different from each other, but again, the bottom line is each and every one of us, we are not satisfied. We are having our own unfulfilled desire, wishes. So being slave of craving, we run through the life driven by craving, having this self-centered blind desire, and without finding perfect satisfaction, but meeting with temporary satisfaction and again long-term dissatisfaction and disappointment. We are running through this life, getting old, falling sick, and die, then reappear again. Sometimes we are human beings, sometimes we are animals, sometimes we are other living beings. In this way, this cycle we are going round and round and round. So when you see in the light of the Dhamma, the suffering, in fact, this is not only for me. It's the other human beings are also undergoing similar situations. And you will see the cause of it. So in this way, friends, the cause of the problem, then the solution and how to solve it, you can see it under the light of Four Noble Truth. So when I say Dhamma Vicaya software here, means once you recognize the incidents, the mistake that you did because of virus affection, then you must take these incidents and see it under the light of the Dhamma. Analyze it according to the Dhamma. Do not analyze according to your wish, but analyze it according to the light of the Dhamma. Like a scientist observe something using a special type of instrument, like magnifying glass, or like what is it called, those microscope. So they can see it very clearly. So exactly the same manner, without getting into any side, with impartial judgment, and you are looking at it differently. So this is the second stage of it. Most of the time, in the second stage, when you do this, and if you were to do it with proper understanding of the Dhamma, your problem will be solved. You will have peace. But there can be some situations where the problem is so deep and you won't be able to get rid of it. So in such kind of cases, you need the third step. The third step of this scanning process is known as Vipassana. The term Vipassana in fact means looking at it, analyzing it, and scrutinizing it in a very specific way, very scientific way. And here, the human beings, and we have to understand who is this human being or this being, because I'm the one who is affected now. I'm the one who is having grudges, hatred, ill will, anger. I'm the one who is suffering now. So it is important for me to get rid of this. So to understand who am I and who is so and so. So simply, who is this so-called human being? When you analyze these so-called human beings, you need to have understanding of 5 aggregates of clinging. So who is this human being from the Buddha's point of view? This human body and mind is divided into 5 groups of energies. These 5 groups of energies are interdependent and interrelated and coexist. And what are these 5 groups of energy? And they are known as material energy. So material energy comprises your body. Your body is made of material elements. In Chinese terms, which is translated to English, they are known as earth, fire, water, and the wind. Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu in Pali. But when it is said these fire, earth, water, and the wind, these are mythological terms, friends. What it exactly means, what made an atom, neutrons, protons, and these elements, these subtle type of energies. In final analysis in Buddhism, body is nothing but combination of energies. So Buddha recognized this human body is the combination of this solidity, fluidity, and motion and heat, and many other elements. And then here in this body we have got eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body. They are also made of the same thing. So through your eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body, outside you can see light, sound, taste, smell, and touch sensation. They are also part of this aggregate. So simply material aggregate. That is your body. Depend on this body, then we have got another 4 aggregates. What are these 4 aggregates? As I told you, when our 5 sense faculties come across outside, light, sound, smells, touch sensations arise in our mind, feelings arise. Sometimes happy feelings, sometimes unhappy feelings, sometimes neutral feelings. Perceptions arise through these 5 sense faculties. When we recognize the human beings and things and perceive the things under different light, under different conditions. Then mental formations, whatever the data we receive through these 5 sense faculties, we solidify it, undergo a process, synthesis process, and then we create something in our mind and we cling to it. Then consciousness arises. So these 5 aggregates of clinging. To use this software, you must, first of all, must have understanding of the 5 aggregates of clinging first. Then these 5 aggregates of clinging, which is yourself, who yourself refer I or me, must be seen under the light of impermanent, unsatisfactory, and selflessness. Impermanent means changing. Your body is always changing. Your eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body, they are always changing. What you receive through these 5 sense faculties, light, sound, smell, touch, sensation, all these are also changing. So this building is changing. These human beings are changing. This speaker, myself, is changing. This microphone is changing. Nothing in this world which does not change. So the material world is in a flux of energy. What about the feelings? Feelings are always changing. Perceptions are always changing. Mental formations are always changing. Consciousness is always changing. So look at these 5 aggregates as flux, flowing and changing. And simply you can ask this kind of questions. Is my eye changing? Yes, my eye change. My eye can fall sick and it change, get old, and it die. Isn't it true? Is your ear changing? Yes, ear is getting old. Sometimes it can fall sick and it can die. My nose, is it changing? Yes, it is changing. In this we get the 5 sense faculties. Then ask questions again. Through my eye, I can see the people, whatever I can see. Are they changing? Yes, they are changing. And through my ear, I can hear the sounds. Is sound changing? Yes, it's changing. So based on my eye and the light or the people I see or whatever I come across through my eye, when these 2 things come together, arise in my mind feelings. Are they changing? Arise in my mind, perceptions, mental formation, consciousness, are they changing? Depend on my ear or nose when I smell or when I hear the sounds, and arise in my mind, feeling, perception, mental formation, consciousness. Are they changing? In this way, friends, you must analyze, scrutinize, look at it very carefully, like a scientist, take in one by one at one time, and analyze them. Then you will see the changing. Then second question asked, well, is it proper for me then to cling to something and grab something which is already changing to be permanent? The person that I quarreled with this morning, and his body is changing, mind is changing, all these were changing, world is changing, and I myself is changing here, and I'm still clinging to this grab, these feelings. Why can't I let go? So, what is the benefit do I have by clinging to this? So when you understand, in fact, attachment produces suffering, because all these are changing, but I solidify it and I cling to it. The moment I cling to it, it produces suffering, unsatisfactoriness. So understand the second truth, which is the second mark of existence, and the dukkha, which is unsatisfactoriness. Then again you look at, who is this person called I? Is my feeling I or perception? If something called I, and it should be something which does not change. If there is something called soul. But all these are subject to change and disappear. So what I call I or my or myself is of course a process of these energies, interdependent coexistence energies. So is it proper for me or to cling to the idea of I or my, or grab it, he scolded me or he did this to me, and is it all right for me? So in this way, friends, you have to analyze. Of course, this is a long process. You must learn the dharma properly. Then only you can practice the third step. If you can practice third step, of course, definitely third step of practicing eventually leads to suppress, weaken all these defilements, and at the end, when you are fully practice, complete this in perfect way, then you will end up all these defilements and achieve perfect enlightenment. So that is the purpose of the teachings of the Buddha, friend. So what I just shared is only a bit of information today, and the path is open for you, and go and study it, practice it, and realize it. And this is just only showing you the path. This is how we can do the mind scanning to detect the virus, and how we can eradicate them perfectly, permanently, and irreversibly. Santoso bhagava samataya dhammang desiti. Buddha, having achieved perfect peace, he teaches the dharma for the other human beings for the purpose of achieving the peace. Dantoso bhagava dhammataya dhammang desiti. Buddha, having tamed himself, having calmed himself, he taught the dharma for other human beings for the purpose of calming and taming. Bodhoso bhagava bodhaya dhammang desiti. Buddha, having achieved perfect understanding and realizations, he taught the dharma for the other human beings for the purpose of achieving understanding and realization. Parinibbutoso bhagava parinibbana dhammang desiti. Buddha, having achieved perfect enlightenment, nibbana, he taught the dharma for the other human beings for the purpose of achieving enlightenment and nibbana. So friends, be happy. As I told you from the right beginning, the human life is so precious and rare, and we have achieved it. Dharma is still available in its pristine purity, and even though Buddha is not living, it is still the time of the Buddha era. And what must be done by the wise human beings, wherever it is possible, to refrain from the evil. Wherever it is possible, to cultivate the good. Wherever it is possible, to dedicate oneself to purify the mind from the defilements. Then friends, this practice will lead those who are practicing from dark to light and from light to light. So this is the path that leads to perfect peace, perfect cessation, perfect realization, which is the Nibbana. So this much is enough as a talk, and if you have got any questions, we can spend a bit of time.
Thank you, Venerable Rathanasara. Okay, because of time constraint, Venerable need to rush to another place for meeting. So I would like to accept one question only, if you, brother and sister, if you don't mind. Anyone have questions for the talk?
Anybody want to ask before I ask? Because anybody? Okay, nobody. Okay, yeah, thanks very much for the. Yeah. Thank you very much, Venerable, for the very good simile that you used. I've never looked at it that way. Well, my question is quite simple. When you started the talk, you say that whether science can actually scan the mind, and you doubt they can do it. But I'm of the different view. I feel that the progress of science is so fantastic that in the near future, maybe not immediately, maybe another 100 years, they will be able to scan the mind and be able to see all those viruses that you talk about in some way. See? They have already done that with the brain as a proxy for the mind. So it's only a matter of time. So what are the views, what are the views of what I'm saying?
I don't think he's asking a question, he's sharing. So I don't have to reply. Oh, it's possible, because it can happen in the future. So it's only speculations. But one thing is sure. If the scientists were to discover such a machines in the near future, then enlightenment will be easier for each and every one of us. So sometimes maybe we do not have to wait for the future Buddha. Will be nice. Okay.
Venerable, I have one more question. Just now you have mentioned that when we are actually analyzing during our reflection, analyzing in the dharma, in the light of the dharma, but Buddha actually gave many dharma. So how much how much do we need to know to be able to analyze it fully? And because there's so many suttas, so I was just, how much do we need to know to have enough understanding?
The teachings of the Buddha. The teachings of the Buddha can be summarized, narrowed down to the Four Noble Truths. One day, Venerable Sariputta says, just like elephant footprint can contain the footprints of the other animals, because elephant footprint is large in extent, so it can contain the footprint of a tiger or lion or a human being or any other living being. And elephant footprint is big and it can contain. So exactly in the same manner, all the teachings that Buddha gave throughout 45 years, they all included in Four Noble Truths. So what is Buddhism? Nothing but Four Noble Truths. Because Four Noble Truths can contain all the other teachings. In other occasions, Buddha says, monks, I teach only two things. What are these two things? Suffering and cessation of suffering. This much only I teach. Dukkha and end of dukkha. Again, he is referring to Four Noble Truths. In the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the first discourse he gave to the five ascetics, the Buddha says, Yava kivancha me bhikkave imesu chatusu ariya satchesu evang tiparivattang dvadasakarang yata bhutang jnana dassanang nasuisuddhang ahosi ataham bhikkave sadevake loke samarake sabbrahmake. So I'm not going to refer all the text, but it said, as long as I did not fully penetrate, did not understand, did not comprehend myself, the Four Noble Truths, I did not claim to be Buddha. But the moment I penetrated, realized, and these Four Noble Truths in depth and width, I claim to be the supremely enlightened Buddha in this world. So you can read this text. So here, the Buddha's own testimony, Buddhism is nothing but Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths is the supreme teachings of the Buddha. That is the highest teachings of the Buddha. And that is the pinnacle of Buddhism. Some people go to the extent to say, maybe because of lack of understanding, they say Four Noble Truths as basic teachings of the Buddha, which is a serious misunderstanding and misinterpretation, and we should not accept this idea, or we should not support it, because this idea eventually came into the Buddhist thought because of later development of the Buddhist concepts. But in fact, the Buddha's teaching is the Four Noble Truths, and the Four Noble Truths is the highest and supreme teachings of the Buddha. And anybody here can point out to me anything which is superior than the Four Noble Truths. So friends, when it comes to what is Buddhism, you can consider these are the teachings of the Buddha. Four Noble Truths, dependent origination, three marks of existence, and karma, and rebirth. So when it comes to all these, they all are included Four Noble Truths. So dependent origination, three characteristics of existence, karma and rebirth, and all these are again inside the Four Noble Truths. That is why it is said the Four Noble Truths is the supreme. So if you know this much of this, is enough. So to use this software, and it is important for you to see this dharma of Four Noble Truths, dependent origination, three marks of existence, and karma and rebirth. Because on the other hand, the other areas what I said, the dependent origination, three marks of existence, karma and rebirth, also different way of analyzing Four Noble Truths again.
Thank you, Honorable Rathanasara. Okay, can kindly all Dharma system, brother, in Ajahn position so that we can walk